This week on Inside Boulder News, the city is set to break ground on this new underpass project. Find out what its impacts will be. Bikes scooted over at this community event. And the greatest literary show on earth returns to Boulder. Welcome to Inside Boulder News, your source for all things Boulder. I'm Carl Watkins. In July, Boulder's City Council declared a climate emergency due to the increasing concerns over the accelerating impact of climate change. Now, the city is looking for community members to help with the next phase with the launch of the Climate Mobilization Action Plan. The Climate Mobilization Action Plan, commonly referred to as CMAP, will be a community effort to come up with a new climate strategy in response to renewed climate urgency.
Last year, the UN's panel of climate scientists, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, issued a new report. They called it the 1.5 degree report. And the report essentially said, no, we're not on track. And in fact, not only have we not achieved the sort of emissions reductions that we need to achieve, but they actually said climate change has progressed now to such an extent that we actually need to now implement a whole bunch of carbon removal processes.
Since Council's 2016 approval of the city's climate commitment, several significant changes have occurred, including accelerating impacts from a changing climate.
We've now realized that there are some additional areas of action, some of them that have been identified by the community. So changing our financial systems is one, how we consider our land use systems is another, and then of course how we actually approach all of these from the standpoint that now that climate change is actually starting to happen, we need to be resilient to that, so all of our actions need to incorporate resilience.
The city sees equity and resilience as core considerations of climate programs and policies. Staff have identified 7 focus areas under consideration for the new strategy, all of which will be discussed at an upcoming community event.
Each of those we anticipate will probably have community-based working groups that come together following this event that we're having September the 26th.
The community is invited to attend the city's launch of the Climate Mobilization Action Plan. At the event, participants will attend a presentation that will provide an orientation to the city's new phase of climate action.
We'll have a series of stations there for those 7 different action areas that I've mentioned.
The CMAP launch event will take place from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. on Thursday, September 26th at CU's Jenny Carruthers Biotechnology Building. More information can be found on the website seen on screen. The city is set to break ground on Foothills Parkway Bike and Pedestrian Underpass later this month. This project will include a demolition of the 40-year-old bridge and replacing it with an underpass that will meet ADA guidelines. This project will take about 1 year to complete. Construction for the Foothills Parking Bike and Pedestrian Underpass project is set to begin on September 23rd. This project will provide an underpass crossing of Foothills Parkway for pedestrians and cyclists and will better meet current ADA or bike facility guidelines for accessibility and design. This $4.4 million project is funded by federal and city transportation funds. Speed limits in this construction area will be reduced to 30 miles per hour to maintain the safety of workers and the traveling public.
The project will be built in 2 phases. So the west side of the underpass will be built in the first phase with traffic shifted to the east side. And when that underpass on the west side is finished, then we'll shift traffic back onto the west side and construct the east side of the underpass.
Park East Park will remain open during construction, though some intermittent disruptions to adjacent bicycle and pedestrian paths may occur. For more information on the Foothills Parkway Bike and Pedestrian Underpass project, please visit the website seen on your screen. This week, the city, in partnership with CU Boulder in Boulder Chamber, hosted e-scooter demo events all throughout the city to provide community members the chance to try out these devices. We spoke to Senior Transportation Planner David Kemp to learn more. The city's 2019 Transportation Master Plan sets out a roadmap for a future that is both shared and electric in order to meet the city's transportation and climate goals. The city is currently looking into its micromobility program to see if this would help achieve these goals.
Right now we're developing regulations for a micromobility program, and one of the exercises we're going to garner public input is to do some of these demonstration events where residents can come down, hop on an e-scooter and ride them around and come back and tell us what they think.
But before any type of e-scooters or e-bikes are rolled out in the city, Council temporarily paused issuing business licenses to companies seeking to operate in Boulder, so staff could explore whether or not e-scooters could help the city achieve its mobility goals.
Right now we're deep in the stakeholder interviews and community input process. We're garnering input from the community to help us develop the regulations. We're also looking at best practices from around the U.S.
As part of the process in developing regulations, city staff are looking into a variety of different aspects of regulations, including safety, sustainability, and operational details. If City Council approves a shared micromobility program that includes e-scooters, community members can expect to see e-scooters and e-bikes as early as spring of 2020. If you would like to provide feedback on the city's micromobility program, please visit BeHeardBoulder.org. Boulder is home to dozens of festivals each year, but few bring participants together from around the world like the Z Jaipur Literature Festival, which is described as the greatest literary show on earth.
It's only one of 3 festivals that's in North America. And I was able to go to India in Jaipur and go to the Mother Festival, and it really is. It's the largest and best literary festival on the planet.
This is the festival's 5th time returning to Boulder, bringing with it a diverse number of guests. More than 50 authors from across the globe are expected to gather at Boulder's main library this weekend.
These academics are experts in the field, and we get to, for free, listen to what they've been studying. We get to hear poetry from the most amazing poets around the country, and it's a time for us as a community to come together and really value the arts.
The festival will not only feature international authors, it will feature talented authors and writers from our own backyard, like author Marcia Douglas, a creative writing professor at CU Boulder.
For this festival, I will be participating in a reading, and this panel showcases Colorado writers. My reading will draw from my recent novel, Notes, The Marvelous Equations of the Dread, and the novel is set in Jamaica, where I grew up.
I think there's so many amazing writers and artists and journalists and poets that they probably have never heard of. But if you sit in a session, your mind will be blown.
The Jaipur Literature Festival will take place from September 21st to the 22nd. The event is free, but people must register. To register and see the full event programs as well as presenters attending, please visit the website seen on screen. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's edition of Inside Boulder News. If you have pictures, news tips, or events you'd like to see featured, we'd love to hear from you. Connect with us on Facebook and Twitter. You can also sign up to receive video updates right in your inbox. Just go to boulderchannel8.com and click on subscribe. And be sure to check out the city's online newsroom for the latest city news. Have a great week.